Hey everybody, I'm Jay Privman, the national correspondent with the Daily Racing Form, joined as I am every week at this time of year by Mike Watchmaker. He's the national handicapper with the Daily Racing Form. We put together the Derby Watch, and Mike, I dare say that so far this spring in 2019, this is the biggest week we've seen. 8 horses on the current Derby Watch list are going to be in action starting on Friday, 2 in allowance races, but 6 of our 20 are in the Fountain of Youth Stakes. So let's start with that because it looks like it's the best prep we've had so far, and it's headed by a runaway debut winner from Bill Mott's barn in Hidden Scroll. Of all the runners that are in the races this weekend, he is the highest ranked one on the Derby Watch list based on your odds. So tell me what you think of Hidden Scroll.
Well, Jay, Hidden Scroll has questions about him, as do every one of the 8 horses on our list that are running this week. I mean, some have questions more serious than others, but Hidden Scroll's question is obvious. I mean, he was dazzling winning his debut on the Pegasus World Cup undercard. He won it by the length of the stretch with a 104 buyer figure under a pull, but it was in the slop and it was a one-turn mile. And on Saturday, he's going to run on a fast track against seasoned stakes horses going 2 turns. It's a completely different experience for him. I mean, he's clearly a very talented racehorse, but, you know, can he do what he did in his debut on a fast track going 2 turns against much better company?
And that's certainly going to be the big question. The thing that I find most fascinating about this horse, Mike, is that Bill Mott is not somebody who has Derby fever. He never has and he never will. And I think the fact that he is putting this horse in this race for his second start really speaks volumes about the level that he thinks this horse can run at. I was here at Gulfstream Park for his debut race, and he was very excited about that horse. Afterwards, he said they thought he would run very well. They had high hopes for him. I'm back down at Gulfstream for the Fountain of Youth this week, and obviously looking forward to this terrific race. But as I mentioned, there's 6 runners from our top 20 in the race. Let's take a look at the one horse who's new to our list this week, and that's Global Campaign. He moved onto the list because of the situation with Maximus Mischief. He's injured and off the Derby trail. Global Campaign, 2 for 2 lifetime, makes his stakes debut. How good do you think he is?
Well, Jay, I think we've talked about this horse every week for the last few weeks, and I think we're of a similar opinion concerning Global Campaign. I think we were kind of left cold by his allowance win last time out. It was his first start against winners, first start against going 2 turns. And okay, yeah, he might have been taken in hand a little bit late, but the buyer figure he got in this race was a lowly 77. I mean, it just wasn't good. And I think the number is legitimate because we know very clearly what the horse who ran second does in terms of the buyer figures. So he's going to have to run a heck of a lot faster in order to be a contender in this race. And my sense is, he's not going to succeed. It could be one and done for Global Campaign as far as Derby Watch is concerned.
Yeah, because there certainly are many horses that we've discussed to put on the list as well. So, but he is the one that gets in this week, and we'll see if he's worthy of that. So if he's staying on the list, if he can run well in the Fountain of Youth. Michael Horse, I'm really excited to see make his 3-year-old debut on Saturday is Bakoma. In fact, I wrote my Derby Watch feature for this week on him. He's trained by George Weaver, 2 for 2 lifetime. He's coming off of a layoff for this first start of 2019. First start at Gulfstream, first start around 2 turns. A lot going against him in theory, but I think this is a really talented horse. 97 buyer speed figure in the Nashua Stakes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him run because I think he's a high-quality colt. What's your opinion of him?
Well, I thought Bakoma packed a lot of really nice things in 2 starts last year. I mean, he won both of them, including the Nashua. Like, as you mentioned, he got a big fig in the Nashua. The one reservation I have about him is that the company he beat in his 2 races really haven't panned out. They're just not serious stakes horses. And I just wonder about that. Every year it seems like we're waiting for a major 3-year-old to come out of the fall New York stakes races, and they show promise, and then they go in the direction of Mohaman. So, I'm eager to see what Bakoma does in here. I'm a little bit worried about the company he beat in his 2 races last year, though.
Well, one horse that looked like he was going to be one of the ones this year is Code of Honor. He ran very well in the Champagne Stakes, finishing second. But since then, things really haven't gone right for him. Both you and I were left cold by his Mucho Macho Man. And this, for me, is the race where he has to step up. He has to run better than he did in the Mucho Macho Man, or he's voted off the island. But we did see some talent from him in the Champagne Stakes, that being a race around one turn. And it's interesting that this will be the Fountain of Youth, his first start around 2 turns. But just give me your overview of where Code of Honor is at in your mind.
Well, I was up and down with Code of Honor last year. When he won first start of his career at Saratoga, he did so on a day when Inside Speed was ruling, and he wrote the crest of that track bias. But he really opened my eyes in the Champagne. He ran tremendous in the Champagne because he had a terrible start, an awful start, and he was so far back early. And for a horse that had previously only won 6 furlong race, to be that far back early and circle horses and finish gaining second, I thought was much to his credit. Unfortunately, the Champagne is a race that hasn't aged very well. Complexity won that race, and he was every bit as impressive as Code of Honor was in winning that race. But Complexity is a definite one-turn horse with distance limitations. He's not on the Kentucky Derby trail. He proved that he's got distance limitations with a stopping performance in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So, I just don't know if the Champagne has aged all that well, and it makes me kind of wonder if Code of Honor was maybe overrated off of that one performance.
We'll see if he can step up on Saturday. And another horse like Bakoma, who's going to be making his 3-year-old debut, is Signalman. Now, he comes from the same barn as Harvey Wallbanger, who won the Holy Bull last month. That horse is waiting till the Florida Derby. Signalman goes for Kenny McPeek and Brian Hernandez Jr., his rider, this week. I think Signalman, Mike, has benefited by some unbelievably great rides by Hernandez in terms of saving ground, most notably in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. But he's a horse that the upside with him is that I don't think distance is going to get in his way. He's already run several races and run several races well around 2 turns. What's your thoughts on Signalman?
Well, I'm being Debbie Downer here, but I didn't like those Kentucky Fall Hero races last year.
Do you like puppies?
I do like puppies.
All right, good.
I'm a dog lover. I love puppies and kittens. I own both. Grandma's a great. Apple pie is tremendous too. But the Kentucky Fall races last year for 2-year-olds, I don't think were particularly good. And Signalman was on the board in 2 of them, and then he won the Kentucky Jockey Club. And I thought that all 3 races, and one of those races includes the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, I thought that they were races that left something to be desired. And no one is come out of the Kentucky Jockey Club to run particularly well. And I guess you could say that about the Breeders' Cup Juvenile too, although it has produced a few next style winners. They were all just so-so winners. So I think Signalman is going to have to really raise his game in order to contend in this Fountain of Youth field.
And the 6th and final horse that we're going to talk about, who's running in the Fountain of Youth, who's on our current Derby Watch Top 20, is Bourbon War. Now, Mike, when this horse ran in his allowance race last time out at Gulfstream, I really liked the way he won. Unfortunately, the form behind him has not held up as well, and that to me is the big question mark regarding Bourbon War. I like that he's got a win over the track, but I'm not as bullish on him as I was the day he won the race because of what's happened subsequent to that with the horses who chased him home. Where are you on Bourbon War?
Agreed. Most notably, the horse that ran second came back and was a badly beaten 7th in a Southwest Stakes that was not a particularly good race. Then again, that's not necessarily Bourbon War's fault. That was the horse that ran second's fault. Bourbon War is a little bit of an interesting horse. He's going to probably be overlooked in the betting in the Fountain of Youth because there are others with class lines that are stronger than his. But he does have a win over the racetrack, and that always counts for something at Gulfstream. And I don't think he's without a chance to be a serious player in this race.
There's 2 other races we want to talk about. They're both on Friday. They're on opposite ends of the country. Here at Gulfstream Park on Friday, Mucho, who was one of the better 2-year-olds from last year, is going to run in an allowance race. It's only going 6 furlongs, but here again is another Bill Mott trainee. We see Hidden Scroll running in the Fountain of Youth on Saturday. Mucho makes his 3-year-old debut the previous day on Friday. 6 furlongs, really, we're not going to learn a lot, I don't think, Mike, but I'm eager to see this horse get back because I thought last year he was one of the better 2-year-olds in the country, and I'm eager to see how he's progressed or not, but I hope he has.
Well, he better have, because I think we're of differing opinions on Mucho. Look, his maiden win at Saratoga was an impressive performance, but his race in the Hopeful Stakes, which was his most recent start, he was just a no excuse second in a race that was absolutely coming apart at the seams in the late stages. And he had every chance to get there, and he just couldn't. And he's going to have to do a heck of a lot better than he did in the Hopeful to be a major player on this road to the Kentucky Derby. I'm kind of down on him because he didn't win the Hopeful, a race he had no business losing as far as I'm concerned. You're not as down on him, so we'll see what happens going forward.
And the last of our crazy eights is Nolo Contesto. He's also running in an allowance race, but that'll be at Santa Anita on Friday. It's going 2 turns, and he's in against a couple of decent Bob Baffert trainees. Roadster, who was a highly regarded 2-year-old last year, who's going to make his first start at age 3, and Desmond, who's going to be going around 2 turns for the first time. Now, Nolo Contesto was entered to run in the Robert Lewis Stakes a month ago. The track came up sloppy that day, and so trainer John Sadler elected to keep him out of it then, and he wanted to wait for a spot, and this allowance race filled, so we'll see him run here and then move on to, if he does well, one of the bigger prep races next time out. Where are you at on how good Nolo Contesto might be?
He's an interesting horse, Jay, because when he got his maiden win last time out, he did so at the expense of Omaha Beach, who also happens to be on our Derby watch list. And Omaha Beach came back to win his next start by 9 lengths with a 90 Beyer speed figure. Now, when Nolo Contesto beat Omaha Beach, Nolo Contesto earned a Beyer figure of only 84, which on the surface doesn't make him one of the main players. I want to see him do significantly better than that, but maybe, just maybe, considering the sharp improvement that Omaha Beach showed Beyer-wise in his next start, maybe that 84 was just a little bit too conservative. Maybe it was a higher number. In any event, I think he's an interesting horse, and it just makes the Southern California contingent all the stronger.
Yeah, it really is a terrific group out there. And in fact, that'll be something that we're going to be talking about next week, because on next week's show, we're going to be previewing races like the San Felipe Stakes and the Tampa Bay Derby and the Gotham. It's a terrific weekend 1 week from now, and obviously we'll have another video recapping all the big races that are going on this weekend, including the Fountain of Youth Stakes. So lots to look forward to for Derby Watch videos in the coming week and coming weeks as we march on towards the Kentucky Derby. Stay here every week for our Derby Watch previews and reviews. For Mike Watchmaker, I'm Jay Privman. Thanks so much for watching.